First Radio.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to Word First Radio, the podcast brought to you by Word First Ministries. I'm your host, Jacob O'Neill, and as always, I'm joined by my friend Cameron.
Hey.
And today, we need to talk about what we've been doing.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been too long.
Mm-hmm.
I know how much, Larry, you enjoy our apologetics stuff. But for those of you who don't know, Larry's he's a good friend of ours. He's someone who lives here in Norway who likes apologetics, right, Larry? And so we're going to talk about our ministry and just what we've been doing and some of the cool milestones that have happened and all that stuff. And first things first, if that's okay. A couple weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, something like that, we've been here for 3 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah.
I remember a long time ago, Cameron saying something like, hey, we're going to be supported for 3 years and we'll be in Norway for 3 years. And then, it's up to us and integrate more into society and things like that. And it's been 3 years, 3 years later. That should be the name of this episode.
3 years later.
I'm going to make the note right now.
Okay, good.
But
see that you do.
Yeah, we've been in here for 3 years.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
That's I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So, Taya, she's back in kindergarten now after the summer off, and she's there speaking Norwegian and doing just fine, and she's 4 years old now, and it's weird to realize, we brought her. She has no memories of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Or thinking about how young Kirsten was, where it's like, oh, wow, she was 7 years old when we came. Like that.
Oh,
wow.
yeah, that's right. Oh, gosh.
Or maybe she had just turned 8.
Any of you who have had children who have been around little kids for a long time will maybe relate to this. But for me, it's like weird. I'm still not used to having conversations with Taya.
Yeah.
Like that's a little still strange.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe Cherry was 8 when we got here, but I was just thinking about oh my goodness, so much has happened. We've been here for 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's been going so quickly. It's hard to time just flies. And you look back, you go, whoa, okay, that was 6 months. Oh, okay, that's been another year. Mm-hmm. And so you've had that experience a few times, but it turns out they've stacked up, I got like pancakes. And we got a tall stack of pancakes. Yeah. It's been, I don't know why I said that.
I'm sorry, I lost the metaphor.
Go
ahead, sorry.
Just saying, when you stack things on top of each other, eventually you have a very tall stack of things.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I
Correct.
thought that was uncontroversial.
That is uncontroversial. Yes.
So it's been it's been 3 years. You guys came just slightly before we did. You guys flew to Oslo the same day that we flew to Virginia.
Right? Yeah.
And then we were there for 7 weeks before we came. So my family hasn't quite been here 3 years. Right. It'll be 3 years in about a month. But you guys,
my wife
you
and
Motown
I,
been here for 3
For
years.
3 years. Yeah, it's crazy. It's still kind of surreal. Just like living here and waking up here, and also just I don't know. It's just our lives now, right?
Yeah.
It's just we don't. It's weird to even think about it, but we have our neighborhood that we know the city really well. We know how to get around. We're locals. It kind of feels like that a little bit. I speak Norwegian much better than I did 3 years ago. And
that's something.
I speak Norwegian at work and with friends, and our lives are here, which is it's just really strange to.
That's how it feels. Our lives are here.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's been a very, very challenging road, to say the least. It was interesting. I was in California in April, and talking with somebody. He was curious, and so just talking to him about all the struggles that we've had in the last couple of years out here, and the things I was struggling with. And his response to me, he was like, as a missionary, you were struggling with that, and to me, it was like. Yes, absolutely. And not even only me too, but almost kind of like me especially almost. And anybody who's done missions can, I think, relate to that, where they feel the struggles and the adversity and the discouragement and there's a lot to it. Just kind of sounds like I'm complaining because there's really not a lot to complain about. When you really think about it, there's actually much more to celebrate than there is to complain about.
Way more.
Yeah.
But I think we underestimate. So, we talked a lot, and then Whitney and I, in the context of IMB, we heard a lot about culture shock. And I think we experienced it differently than we thought.
Right.
It wasn't like we have friends who went to culturally very, very different places than they grew up. So in that sense, we're really, it was a lot less difficult for us coming to Oslo.
Right.
But you don't realize how the culture shock weighs on you. Like the anxiety of everything you do today is going to start in a language you don't speak. And it's such a blessing that everyone in Norway speaks English.
Yeah.
But like if you need to make a phone call about your cell phone bill or your kid's sick and you got to talk to the doctor or you've got to do something at their school or interact with the government or any important thing, or if you go to the grocery store or you go to get coffee, like all of that is going to start in a language that you don't speak.
Right.
And you're going to have to feel sort of the shame of asking someone to switch for you, like to ask 14-year-old, or I guess there aren't any 14-year-old baristas or whatever, but you're asking the young people behind a service counter.
Sure.
You know, I'm an old man asking a young man or a young woman to switch for me because I don't speak a language as well as a toddler does.
Right.
And everything you do, there's going to be at least that first question. Or you know, I'm going to call and I'm going to get that robot voice. And I don't know if I'm going to understand it well enough to push the right button to get to a human in order to ask them to speak English to me because I don't get the language.
Well, especially over the phone. Remember how hard it was in the beginning? I don't know if maybe you can.
It wasn't
relate to
hard
this.
for me.
Oh, that's right. Well, then you can't relate to this,
Yeah,
but I remember in the beginning how hard it was to understand Norwegian over the phone or like through a microphone.
Yep.
And like I'm just like, why is this like so much harder? It's already hard enough, like just having a
But
conversation.
then it's like low resolution. It's like you have to squint at it.
Yeah. And now it's like, I told Marissa the other day, like I was calling, I don't know, the police or something like that.
I don't know.
To get an appointment because we're renewing our residence permits.
Yeah.
But anyways, just calling them and listening to the robot and just telling Marissa, I was just like, I'm so happy I don't have to like sit here and just be like, wait for the English option or just like sit here and be like, what? Like try and squint with my ears. And now I can just like listen to it and like get like 85% of it, which is enough apparently.
But there are 1,000 things in your day and week that are like that, where it's like, you don't know that you can't expect. I can expect that. I know people here speak Norwegian.
Right.
But there are the things you don't expect.
Sure.
Like, oh my God, how does that work here? Am I supposed to tip? I don't know. No, people tell me, we don't tip here because people are paid well. But then there's the option, right? They turn the thing towards you and say, pick an option. Like, which option am I supposed to pick? Am I doing the socially correct or incorrect thing here? And anyway, so I won't. Like you already said, that's like we shouldn't complain about. We're not really complaining about that, but there were challenges and difficulties, and they are wildly outweighed by the things that have gone really, really well. But I think that is one of the things we've experienced over the last 3 years are the culture shock that I think we expected even less because the people here, they look like us and they have iPhones and laptops and high-speed internet everywhere. And
I think we said that on the first episode, actually. Yep. Because, that's very true. That definitely lessens the culture shock, right? Because, I mean, I couldn't imagine going to, and the people who do have my utmost respect and admiration and are going to be highly regarded in the kingdom. But, the people, I couldn't imagine going to places like, South Africa or the Middle East or in Southern Asia or things like that, or places where the culture shock would be much, much more intense than it is here. Or even people going to like Japan. Like, you guys know, you probably wouldn't know unless you tried to sit down and learn Norwegian. But I mean, as far as like its similarity to English, is like light years more similar to English than Japanese is. Obviously.
That was tough. Whitney and I, every month, every month for a while, but we'd have these regular sort of conference calls with other people that we had trained with who are in different places in the world.
Right.
And we talk about language every month because we want to encourage people about how you're doing in language.
Right.
And every month we're like, dreading talking about how our language is going because they're learning real ones. Right. Exactly. They're learning real hard languages.
Whole new alphabets, whole new sounds to make with your mouth. And I mean, we got off easy. Yeah. We had like 3 new vowels that were like hard to say. All things considered, we definitely got an easier language task than other people. So it's hard to say, oh yeah, we just passed this level thing, and they're like, what you did? Okay, oh man, and to not discourage them, right?
But
exactly.
Like goodness gracious, like we have friends learning Czech and Estonian and Greek, and my friends are learning Greek. One of them, he went to seminary. I was like, you don't already do Greek? He's like, come on, man,
already do Greek.
I took Greek. Well, so that's the thing. I took Greek too, right? So I know that there's no resemblance. And I was like, I thought you already did Greek. He's like, shut up, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, so that's that was fun. But let's talk about some of those positive things, because I mean, well, there's definitely a lot to celebrate. I want to talk first. I want to say something about your wife.
Okay, what do you want to say about my wife? What thing is it that you want to say about her?
She secured a job.
Yeah, of course she did.
Coming up, why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, my wife is awesome. You guys know Whitney. She's been on the podcast once or twice, or we got to have them on again.
Yeah,
it's so good having the ladies on.
Yeah, but anyways, let me set this up a little more, right? So I mean, we're transitioning, right, into be maybe a little more integrated into society. It's been 3 years. You guys have been with the IMB.
We've been on the outskirts. No, so our assignment with IMB is coming to a close.
Yeah, exactly.
And as that's coming to a close, we expect to stay here. So we're in this sort of weird conceptual place with our role with IMB, because we didn't come for all time and for all eternity. Like that job, we didn't take the job that lasts forever.
Right.
But we are pretty sure we're here. At least I'm pretty sure we're here forever. But we're here longer than the duration of our assignment with IMB.
Sure.
So as that's coming to a close, we have been anxious about, and it's been a little bit nerve-wracking. There's a lot of interlocking things that all have to come together and like click at the right time in the right way. And so this is just one example of that happening. We've been saying all along, God's done crazier things to get us here, so we're confident that He'll keep us here. One of those things is we need to find new work. We need to find new work for two reasons. One is so they'll let us stay in the country, and the second is so that we can like eat and feed our kids and stuff.
That's a good one too.
Yeah. So because we want to do both of those things, we'd like to live and we'd like for that to be here. We've got to find work. And Whitney, she put her career as a teacher on hold to do this missionary thing and see what that was like and what it was about. And anyways, so we always expected her to be back in the classroom. So I'll tell the story. The short story is she's gotten a job. She's teaching science at a local international school. She'll be starting in the fall.
Right.
So as we transition out of IMB, it's like hand in glove, whatever. Like it's like perfect handoff. Where the Olympics are going on, it's like the passing of the baton, right? This perfect handoff where, as our time with IMB comes to a close, it picks right up perfectly so that we are going to be able to stay in the country. We think. I mean, it'd be very strange if we weren't. Be allowed to stay in the country and, in fact, be permanent residents in the very near future, which is great because then that means you don't have to sort of check in with Uncle Bjorn. You just get to live here as long as you're not a criminal. They let you stay, which is really, really great. And the school that she's at seems great. The people she's interacted with and their philosophy, like they asked her to come and teach a test lesson. So she just sent her resume into a school that wasn't hiring. And they called her and said, we're not hiring, right? She goes, yes, I'm aware you're not hiring. They said, but we'd love to see what you like and come teach a sample lesson. And so she did. And after the sample lesson, like, okay, so we're not hiring, right? Yes, I know you're not hiring. And it was the next day or the day after, they made her an offer. They said, we'd already planned our schedule for the following academic year. We changed all of that to make place for you. Because we want you to be on the team. So that, of course, is that's
awesome.
Yeah, and that's so flattering and so encouraging.
Doesn't
especially
get better than that.
Yeah, well, especially because she's been out of the classroom for 3 years. She's been out of practice. So she'll be teaching students a little bit younger than what she's used to. That will be new. Yeah. But so far,
how old? Because she taught high school before.
Yeah, it'll be 6th through 9th grade.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And she's had not a lot of interaction with the school and stuff so far, but all of them so far have been really great. Like the people she's met philosophically and seem to be in alignment as a team she seems to want to be on. They really want her to be on the team, and it seems to be a good match. So, and that's on the back of the last time when she was looking for work, when everything just didn't all come together. And I won't tell that story just because it's not super relevant, but there was another time she was interviewing for a thing and they really liked her and things just didn't come together. And we could have, made it work ourselves, but we decided we were going to rely on God, just trust God. Be like, okay, it seems like it would be a good solution, seems like the kind of thing we could take, but we're going to have to insert an inappropriate amount of our own effort and will on this situation that we would be uncomfortable with. And so we're going to let that opportunity go by and wait for the right thing. And this appears to be the right thing. So she'll be starting in the fall, which is really great because we're ending our assignment with IMB, and then I have to find work too. Yeah. And that's a little bit more difficult for me, I guess. Yeah. So we'll see. It's a little bit more difficult for me because I have to wait for our residence permits to come through before I can switch jobs. So unless there's someone hiring a church consultant just until the end of September, then so I have to wait until our residence permits come in, and then I can take anything. But then, of course, what's difficult is my education and my work history for the last 10 years has been all church stuff, right? So I have education, but it's in apologetics and theology.
Right.
And I don't want to take a job as a pastor. I'm leading our church plant, and that's fine. And my job will be some other thing. And so I don't know exactly what that's going to be. But we're working on it. We trust God, and He is good. And we'll see. Of course, we'll keep everyone posted with the details as they come out. But for now, we're going to be able to stay in the country. It looks like even with Whitney's job, we'll be able to eat at least for a while, and we'll be able to eat for at least a while. And then the people who are renting our home from, they come back in May, so we know that's coming up. Like May 1st, it's a drag because we love where we live and we love our neighbors, we love our landlords. Like it's so good. But we knew they were coming home, and we thought when we rented the place, they said, okay, the lease will be for sure for a year, maybe for 2 years, possibly for 3. And it will have been for like 3.5.
Okay, yeah.
So I guess, it'd be silly for us to think we're going to be there forever, but we're really getting used to it, really like where we live, like literally the home we live in, where it's located in the city, the people we live around, literally our neighbors who we share walls with, and where the kids go to school and stuff. So yeah, that's some more transitioning we'll be doing, right? We'll keep everyone up to date as that happens. But that's where the Onnested family is.
Yeah,
Whitney's got work. We have every reason to believe we're going to be able to stay. Me and the girls will be permanent residents in the next couple of months. If we stay for a couple more years, the girls can be citizens, which comes with a lot of advantages. And they're all they're crazy. They all speak Norwegian all day long, and it's been fun during the summer, like just hearing them hang out with their friends and speak Norwegian all day long with them.
Exactly.
And it's
like way better than any of us.
Way better.
Not even close. By kilometers and kilometers. Yeah.
Kilometer.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Okay. Really cool. That's good to hear. Good to hear you guys are in a favorable transition.
Seems to be. God is good. Seems to be we're in a favorable experiencing transition favorably.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Real cool. Part of me just wants to be like, Cameron, ask how the O'Neills are doing.
Jacob, your turn.
Yeah, very cool. We'll cut that out. We'll figure something out. We'll figure something out for that. Good question, Cam. So, we're also, in that weird transitional phase as well. We're both done with school. We're trying to get our residence permits again.
Well, and to be clear, you've been here as students. That's been your reason that Norway has allowed you to stay.
Yeah, exactly.
And now that part of your studenthood is over. And so if you want to continue to stay.
Right. We got to get a little creative. Yeah. And so I chose the least creative option, which was to go to school again.
Stay a student.
Yes, exactly. Just to stay a student. So, I'm going to, I think the last time we talked about it, we talked about how I was applying to schools and, submitted my bachelor's thesis and things like that. And, I posted on Facebook, I'm going to MF. So it's Oslo's largest seminary, not just down the street, but I take the subway now to school. Yeah. I'm actually, as we're releasing this episode, I've actually already done my first class, and it was awesome. It was cool.
It will have been.
It will have been awesome.
I was on the MF website yesterday, and did you see? Have you been there?
Yeah,
Trond is on the
times.
Trond is on the photo on their main page.
Yeah,
one of our friends
who
comes to our Saturday morning breakfast and some other stuff. It's just on the homepage of their website.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And so that's really exciting. That's awesome. My program's in English. I'm saying that now because I've been asked 1,000 times. Are you doing it in Norwegian? I'm not doing it in Norwegian. No. I chose that for a few options.
It's like coffee orders are hard enough in Norwegian. Never mind grad school.
Yeah, sure. So I'm not really interested in doing grad school in Norwegian or submitting homework. Well, actually, I wouldn't have had to. People have to sell me on doing it in Norwegian. People have been like, you could submit your homework in English, and that's actually exactly why I'm not doing it in Norwegian. Is because let's just keep it all English. It's just going to be easier for everybody involved. So I'm doing a master's at MF. Really excited. I almost don't know what to expect. Almost kind of do. The reading list looks really awesome. I'm really excited to get back in the classroom and studying, and I'm excited to be challenged in in a lot of good ways, and that's going to be really cool. Marissa is going to stay here on a family visa.
Yeah.
So Norway does this really awesome thing where, like, if you're married, they're interested in keeping families together if one of them's in Norway.
Yeah.
And so they have an opportunity if you're already in Norway and if you're outside of Norway
If you're allowed to be here, your wife and kids can come too.
Yes, that is true. Right.
I'm going to be on a family visa.
That's right. Yeah,
for the first time.
Yeah, and so Cam and Motown are going to be on a family visa. Cam with his wife and my wife with me, and so that's a whole other process. She can work full time once she gets that visa approved, and so she's looking for a job as well, and that's kind of what we're doing. And so that's that more or less where we're at as a family. Besides just doing good and serving the church.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of the church, let's talk about that. How's the church going? How's the ministry going? What's been happening? Oh,
What was the last thing? Last time we talked about that, what was the answer?
Last time we talked about it, we didn't really talk about it. We were dealing with all of Alan's stuff and the transfer. I'm sorry to say dealing with all of that, but we haven't really talked yet about the things we've been doing. We described what we've done, what our calendar looks like throughout the week. How are those things going? Are they doing what they're supposed to?
Yeah, so the calendar is more or less the same, although we had a good conversation about it last night. Yeah. Because it's not sacrosanct, but a lot of togetherness is built into sort of our strategy. So we've chosen a name for the church. I don't know if we've announced that. We call ourselves Fyrtårnet, which means the lighthouse, which I just love. And that was a Bendik suggestion, and he's a rock star for all time because that's perfect. And so now we have a name for ourselves, and it's us. I mean, it's us and a couple of Norwegian men, and it's experimental and it's exciting and it's a little bit terrifying, but it's also kind of loose because it's not loose isn't the word, but comfortable because it's community and being with people. It's not highly programmatic. It's not an event. It's not a thing you show up for. It's like a thing we do together. It's a life we live with one another. So church is going well. We're a church plant, and home church is our mother church. Everyone's been gone for the summer. So now that people are back in town, well, I guess they're gone for camp, but are back in town, then we'll continue to see like exactly what the relationship between home church and Fyrtårnet is, like what our responsibilities are and how they'll be able to offer us accountability and mentorship and how we can continue to serve the home church community faithfully is, we get to sort of decide that stuff together. But as far as our little church community, I think it's going well. Are the things doing what they mean? Is our program, is our calendar, is our schedule doing what it's supposed to be doing? I think so. We're making friends, and it's a little weird to talk about it because if any of them hear this, I don't want them to hear like that they are like a conquest or something.
Yeah, for sure.
But part of what we're here doing is living as ambassadors of the kingdom of God among people who are not members of the kingdom of God. And all of our friends, I think, know that. So we have a pretty hefty handful of friends who are regulars in our lives, whether it's, the few regulars we have in our Skeptics evenings that we have on Tuesday nights, or regulars in our family breakfast. Those are all Christians. Family brunch, which we do once a month, that's just everybody, and that seems to be our most like widely attended thing, where you get people.
Yeah, let's get lots of people.
And it's not just a lot, but people from like a wide range of life. Like we have Christians and non-Christians and people like that seems to be the sort of broadest connections we have come to that thing. But then on Friday nights we have Taco Friday, which those have been really, really great, and game nights on Friday nights. And so to say they're well attended, like we don't really care how many people are there.
Sure.
We want to invest in depth of relationship with people who are our friends, and we can do that around tacos and get to know if we like each other and if we have chemistry and if they like us and if we like them, and if they do, then we can spend life together. And part of that is us being living out our Christian conviction in community that includes people who aren't Christians, and so that's really wonderful. Whitney, she went to the school that she's working at for a day where like they gave her login information and showed her where her classroom was going to be and that kind of stuff. And one of the people there, it's a bunch of international teachers, and one of the people asked her, like, "Are you having trouble making friends here?" And she said it's a kind of a funny question because most people do. Most foreigners who move to Norway have a lot of trouble making friends. A lot of people leave Norway for that reason.
Sure.
It's hard to meet Norwegians. And she's like, for most, and she just told him, she's like, for most people that would be difficult, but I'm a Christian, and we sort of moved into family here, and we know lots of wonderful people who opened right up to us, and so we have lots of friends. And so that's been true, but also we want to extend that friendship to people who are sort of outside of the Christian family and just love them and be friends with them. So is our calendar doing what it's meant to do? I think so. We're gathering people together and enjoying meals and hopefully expressing the love of Jesus with each other around them. And hopefully they feel loved and wanted and like they're people that we want in our lives. And we're making friends. So.
Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, I think that's kind of more or less my feelings about it. Because I'm not going to sit here across from you and say, no, it's not. Because it is. It's great making lots of new friends and people, inviting their own friends without us even asking them to.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
It's nice getting to know people from different walks of life and different perspectives, and people who are open to talking about all sorts of things, all sorts of fun stuff, all sorts of serious stuff, all sorts of joking about the serious stuff as well, which is how, I guess, just coping. We're not going to turn this into a therapy session for me, but
okay, good.
I think it's awesome. I think it's really encouraging seeing people really into it. And I mean, kind of my favorite night is Taco Fredag. And I mean, it's a little unfair to the rest of Oslo. And I can say this only because all I do is like just knead the tortilla dough.
Yeah.
But it's a little unfair because the best tacos in all of Oslo happen at Cam's house on Friday night once a month. And so, they're so good. It's really unfair. So everybody should know that and come hang out.
Yeah.
I can say that because Cam and Motown make the tacos. So
it's a lot of work, but it's a fun day. We get to do a lot of cooking and then share that with our friends who Norwegians celebrate Taco Friday, but they just do it like taco just means a different thing. Right. So this is how we experience, and so we get to bring to them our experience of that kind of Mexican food, and it's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, it is definitely a cool marriage or dating of cultures.
A dating of cultures.
It's that's really fun. Okay, cool. I guess one more thing we'll talk about, maybe to kind of wrap it up. We went to Sweden recently. We talked about that on social media a little bit, posted pictures. What's in Sweden?
Yeah, Göteborg.
Yeah.
We just needed to get out of town. So we needed to all get together and talk about sort of what's the next phase of the mission. We asked the church, the people of God, will you send this group of missionaries to Norway for 3 years? And so they sent you guys. Whitney and I were sent by the IMB on a 3-year contract, interestingly.
Yeah.
And y'all were sent by people who decided to join the mission financially and support you by paying your expenses for 3 years. And so we're sitting here. We're sitting here. We decided to we need to work together on what's next. We've been saying since episode 1, we live here. This is where we are. This is not short term, but it's not short term. We're not coming home. We are home. But we've always noticed there's a checkpoint. There's a milestone. There's that thing in Sonic the Hedgehog when you pass it, and then after you die, then you start there instead of starting at the beginning.
Sure.
That happens at 3 years. And so we're approaching that checkpoint. So what comes next?
Yeah.
And
what's past the checkpoint?
The work is not done.
Right.
But the mission is accomplished. We asked people to join us and to send us here to come to Norway and plant a church, and sat in front of people and said, listen, we're asking you to support us for 3 years. And then after that, it's up to us. So we know
church is planted and it's churchin'.
We got to, the plant is churched. The church is planted and it's churching. That's exactly right. Yeah. And so we get to talk to our donors and say, we did the thing. We did the thing you sent us to do. Right. And the overall work isn't done, but we can stay. And we're integrating and we're getting work. And we said that after 3 years, it would be up to us. And it is. And we're going to live and it's going to be okay. So to be able to say, mission accomplished. Of course, the broader mission is still ongoing.
Right.
But the first mission of Word First Ministry is like if you go to the webpage, actually, I think we've updated it, but it's like our first mission is to send these people to Norway to plant a church in Oslo. It's like we did that. Mm-hmm. We did that. And so what's the future of the ministry? Well, the future of the ministry will be sending us as missionaries to various places if we want to go do things. The future of the ministry is going to be planting more churches, God willing. And so we'll be able to support new churches as they get planted, or sending missionaries. Or if there's a missionary who God is calling to join us here in Norway, supporting their work. But as far as that mission to come to Norway to plant a church, we're in the midst of it now. Yeah. It's a pretty amazing thing.
Yeah, it is. So, moving on, and change sucks. Change is hard, but it's going to be good. Absolutely. And so one of those things is, trying to become more, not independent, but looking for a new job, kind of, because my job has kind of just been Word First for the last couple of years. It's not really, I'm not like an employee there, but Word First has been supporting us. So yeah, that's been my job. I'm okay saying that that's my job in this context. So I'm looking for a new job as I study, and just to see exactly where I fit, here, because I'm not good enough in the language yet that I can just take like any kind of job for my degree. But there's definitely like people worse in Norwegian than me that get jobs that
are working,
that are working, and so it's definitely possible. Just trying to look for those opportunities, and how feasible are they in the midst of studying and things like that. How does it all work out? I mean, that's something Motown and I are trying to figure out, like in the next 4 months, 5 months. And it's scary, and it makes us anxious and excited and all that. But if God wanted us to go back to California, I mean, that would have happened by now, probably. Yeah. If God wanted to send us home already, or not to California already, that would have happened already.
Yeah. It seems He's doing the stuff to keep us here. So, it's been a hard 3 years. It's been a beautiful, wonderful, amazing 3 years. I'm eager to see how much we continue to learn, and we look back someday and go, oh my gosh, we didn't know anything. But for now, it feels like we're learning some stuff, and we're getting some traction, and we're making progress, which is really great, because you kind of don't know. Being a missionary, it's a weird thing, and it's a weird job, and it comes with like no guarantees and a lot of unknowns, and God is good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll just go ahead and leave it there.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you guys for listening. We hope, please follow us on social media. You get to see more of that churchin'. And so we would love to have you be involved in that, commenting and liking and hearing from you guys. And as far as this podcast is concerned, we'll see you again next week. God bless.
Thank you for listening to Word First Radio. Be sure to like, subscribe, and check us out online at wordfirst.us. Yeah!